Okay guys, so this is gonna be the second part of 1 point. I'm gonna show you how to start uh, the last exercise that would be creating your own room, okay? Uh, so the first thing you wanna do, of course, again, you're using your pencil, you're using your ruler. We went through that already, so you know it works. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to create a box. Let me move that to center that to the screen. Okay, so that's the first thing you want to do. If you look at the drawing on the PDF, you'll see there's a box. Okay, then the second thing you want to do, you want to create the horizontal line. On the drawing on your PDF is about 1/3 from the top. So that's gonna be, let's say, the horizontal line. If you move the horizontal line up and down, it's not gonna be wrong, it's just gonna look a little different. So if you start, you're not familiar to this kind of a technique, you wanna keep it the same, that way you can look at your drawing on the PDF, it helps you guide yourself through it. And then you're gonna, of course, put your vanishing point, okay? So box, horizontal line, vanishing point. Then what you wanna do, you wanna connect all the corners to that vanishing point. All right, so now what I have the ceiling, the floor, left wall and right wall. What I'm gonna need is gonna be the back wall. So the back wall, I'm just gonna decide where I want the wall to end, or how deep I want my room to be, and I'm gonna say about right here. So you want to make sure that you have enough distances here that you can put furniture inside your room. So I decide on the point, then I'm going to take this point up, across, down, and across. Okay, so now if you look at this, I'm going to make it bolder for you with the black. If you look at this, I end up with what looks like a box, okay? And that's basically what a room is. It's a box. All right. So now I have left wall, right wall, ceiling, and floor. The next thing you want to do, I'm going to show you how to create your furniture or some of the pieces, because it's too small. I'm using this, but I'll get you started. Let's look at the dresser on that side. You want to make sure that you're going to draw the side of the dresser, and you're going to put the corner, the right lower corner of the dresser against the wall. So it should look something like this, okay? So make sure that the corner of the furniture is against the wall in the corner of the room itself. Then I'm going to connect to the vanishing point. You know, we've done this before. And then I'm going to decide how deep I want this piece of furniture to be. It's right here, and I'm going to stop it right there. So again, if I make that bold, you know, I'm using my black. You're going to use your HB. This is how it should look like. Of course, it can be a little deeper, it can be a little higher, it can be a little shorter. That's really up to you. All right, so we have this piece of furniture here for now. Then I'm going to show you how to do the bed across. So the bed, the easiest way is to start with the L shape, kind of a weird looking L. So I'm going to do this right here. I'm going to go about, let's say, that deep. So this would be quite skinny, it's the headboard, and this of course will be thicker since it's the bed itself. Okay, so it looks kind of a reversed L shape a little bit. And then I'm going to connect all my corners to the same vanishing point. Okay, so all right. Now I'm going to decide how deep I want the bed to be. So visually something like this. If it's a twin bed, and I'm going to stop the same way we did everything else. Okay, so now if I use my black marker, All right, so that's my bed. It's simple. I mean, you can later on, you can decide, for instance, to create, you know, like little feet like this. So here you would have a little return going through the vanishing point, and here a little bit. Then you can, if you want, you can erase that. Totally up to you. Then of course you can, you know, play with it. You can like add a little comforter on top, you know. You can add some pillows or whatever you want. That's entirely up to you, but that's how you would create the bed. Now let's see how, let's say I want a mirror or a picture frame or window on top. And let's say I want the mirror or the picture to be the same length as the bed. So I'm going to take these, going from the corners, and then for those lines, so the parallel lines, I'm going to decide on top running through the vanishing point, and the bottom running through the vanishing point, and that gives me something like that. Okay, if it's a picture frame, you can double the lines, you know, create a little more dimension, and then you can have like a little drawing in there or whatever you want, a little painting or whatever you want. Now finally I'm going to show you how to do the draws. I'm doing only two because it's too small and I'm using like a thick tip. The way you create like boxes within boxes, you want to find the center of this. So the way you find the center in perspective is to create a diagonal corner to corner. It's going to give you a point, and that point you will take to the vanishing point, and bam, you have two boxes here. Okay, then the only thing you have to do is double those lines and vanishing point, double those lines, vanishing point, and to find the center of that diagonal puff, you have a knob in the center. Okay, that's how you do the draws. Very simple. And then after that, you have another piece of furniture, a chair here. Maybe I'll show that in another drawing because it's getting a little small here to create everything. But then you can play with this. Then you can, on the other wall, you know, you can create a picture frame. You know, same principle. You know, you can you know, have a little lamp here if you want. You know, and plug it on the wall. You can do all kinds of stuff. But that's how you build your drawing. That's how you start. Okay, now it's your turn to try.